Welcome back to the road to exploration, all done in KSP2, and we are launching our first rocket. It is called the David 1. Yeah, so it's pretty basic. It has two solid rocket boosters that we do not ditch, and that's so that it can keep those side control surfaces still attached, even after we no longer use the solid rocket boosters. So it is a little bit inefficient in that way, but I think the reason I did it was warranted. Anyway, now we're on the second stage, and our purpose for this mission is to just go into orbit, do a whole bunch of research, so we can unlock enough tech so that we can actually go to the Mun. Now, going to the Mun is actually not that difficult. I could actually do it with the tech that I have now. I just want the rockets to look realistic, like they would actually go to the Mun. If you kind of get what I mean, because like I could definitely go to the Mun. Matt Lown and Carnassa have already proved that you can go to Elu and Tylo just on the just by the first tech node alone. Like there's no reason to absolutely just go insane right now. Like I'm not going to be the first person to do it, so I'm not going to do it. If you catch my drift, or not even catch my drift, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we are re-entering. We gathered up a ridiculous amount of science once we have actually, deorbited. We have already spent it on some technology, and yeah, here we are. We're falling through the atmosphere, and we will be landing shortly. Oh, and there goes the Science Junior. That is a bummer. But first, I'm going to try and get a surface sample with Bob here, and he's going to hop back in. But this is the second launch. It's with it's the David 2. It's also has solid rocket boosters, but it's decently upgraded, and these are going to the moon. And I am calling these David, and it's because I've decided to name all of my rockets after folk heroes, and this is after David and Goliath, or at least these first couple after folk heroes. So like David, and then the lander's called Goliath, which I think is pretty cool. And if we have like a station that goes to the moon, goes around the moon, I'll call it probably Solomon. So you get the idea. They'll be related. But anyway, we had to pitch all the way vertical here, or almost all the way vertical, because the thrust to weight ratio was too low, and we actually weren't getting into space. So I had to pitch all the way up. Like the gravity turn just wasn't enough. Like we had to get out of the gravity turn. But here we are, we're going off into space. We're about to circularize our orbit. We used the entirety of this second stage here, and it still isn't enough to get us into orbit. But that's not that much of a problem. This thing has more than enough delta V to basically go anywhere. So that's exactly what we're doing. We are just doing this. Now, I know that there haven't been as many graphics as there were in like the last season, like the titles in the KSP 1 season, but that's fine. I've been incredibly busy. This is literally just 2 missions back to back, and most of this episode is 1 mission. I've been incredibly busy. New semester started up, a bunch of family issues, doesn't matter. We're back. We're back, baby. But yeah, here we are. We're actually extending we're basically doing our translunar or transmunar injection burn right here. And there we are. And I overburnt a little bit, so I have to fix my trajectory. And here we are. We are going to set our capture burn right there, so that we can be captured in the sphere of influence of the Mun. Now, yeah. So here we are, slowly circling, circularizing our orbit around the Mun during our capture burn, and there we are. Now, all we have to do is, I realized that I have Bob as well as Tim C. Kerman, and we can only land one on the surface and then only return one home. So, yeah, I kind of wish that Kerbal Space Program 2 wouldn't just automatically fill your capsules, but I do kind of realize that it is kind of necessary. So yeah, I returned Bob to his capsule, and we're just gonna keep him there, and we'll send a rescue mission later on. But here we are. We are going to basically deorbit ourselves, and here we are going in for a landing. I had to, collect some science, as you do, and here we are, performing our. It's not really the landing burn, because I don't use this burn specifically to land, because I do cut the engines, but this is to slow ourselves down so that we don't smack into the surface at, several hundred meters per second. But here we are. We have slowed down enough that I actually deployed the landing legs, and here we are, falling towards the surface, and I have reignited the engine and unignited it, and I reignited it again, so that I could actually, and then I actually started using my mouse so I could actually control the rocket's descent at a better pace. And there we are. We are at the surface. I decided to get Tim C. Kerman out, do some science, plant a flag, which is what he's about to do right there. And I put Kerbin, and then I meant to put Kerman. I finished it. Yeah. And then I let him just explore a little bit. I just let him kind of go around, got to see some of the sights. And then we're like, hey, yo, we're pretty early on in our space thing. Might want to do a little bit of a what's it called, a come back up. We don't, it's pretty early on in our thing, and you don't have enough life support. So I did that, and then yeah, so I was supposed to disconnect from the bottom stage, and there was going to be a second stage that allowed us to basically get into orbit, and then the landing glitch where it keeps your rocket listed as landing and it won't show you the trajectories happen. And so I paused because it was also actively deorbiting me. So basically during this time, I was thinking about what I should do and whether I should do it or not, and what I was thinking about doing was cheating. Now, I could cheat to basically give myself the fuel that I was supposed to have. So I actually put myself into orbit just to make sure I'm safe right here. But I was thinking about cheating, whether to give myself the fuel I was supposed to have and the, basically to just completely correct the original glitch. I tried reloading and all sorts of stuff. It just didn't work. So I eventually did succumb to the cheats. Here's me looking through the menus trying to find out what the cheat button is. By the way, it's Alt F8, and you have to press it at exactly the same time. Or if you have a NVIDIA graphics card like me, it opens up GeForce Now, which is a pain. Yeah, see, I'm actually in orbit, but I decided to research everything I could, and then actually do the thing where I cheat. This is actually when I was looking up how to pull up the Google thing, and I was like, why isn't it working? Because I had been pressing keys and only GeForce Now was opening up, and it ended up that I was just stupid. And there's the cheat menu. If you guys haven't seen it, I just set it to 39,000, which is roughly where I was. I was a little bit higher than that. It said my max was like 100, something like that. But that's fine. Now here I am trying to set the encounter burn, which uh, which I ended up figuring out about right here. And yeah, so I uh, continued to try and whittle it down as low as I possibly could because I wanted to use as little fuel as possible so I didn't, run out of fuel. And then I did turn on infinite fuel for the first half of this particular burn. So for the first burn, yeah, I put on infinite fuel, then I turned it off. And then once we got to the rocket, I'm actually using my fuel at this point. And here we are. We are coming into a stop, and I actually overburnt again, and I had to get closer. So I made sure I removed all of the data from that capsule. I'm not sure if I actually did that correctly. I did another science experiment while I was flying over, and then I landed on the vessel, and that's all you're gonna see for today. So this video is kind of long, but yeah. Anyway, bye.